Okay, so Schecter video round 2. The difference in this one is just that I'm going to be talking about what this guitar feels like in comparison to a Strat. So I've been playing a Strat for about 5 years, pretty much every day. I've got a USA Deluxe, and these are a few of the differences that I noticed straight away when picking up the Schecter for the first time. So the first difference between the two guitars is just the overall feel of the whole instrument. The neck and the fretboard on the Schecter, completely different to a Strat. So the fretboard on the Schecter is really thin and it's got massive frets. This makes it a little bit easier to play a fast guitar line than on the Strat. Now, I thought that everyone was saying, hey, the flat fretboard means that you're just gonna be able to play super fast. I actually don't think that is the case. I just feel like there's a slight bit more confidence. I mean, I kind of went into it thinking that I'd pick up the guitar and Nick Johnston licks, Eric Johnson licks, Yngwie licks would be super easy. Unfortunately, that was not the case. I am still just a generic kid trying to get through my pentatonics. The neck on the Schecter is so smooth. Now on my Strat, there is a bit of a varnish to it. So when your hand gets a little bit hot when you're playing guitar for a bit too long, you do notice that it does stick to the fretboard a little bit, which isn't that nice and kind of makes it a little bit trickier to play, especially when you're live. When in a live scenario, you get a little bit of a clammy hand, that's not gonna be good. So the Schecter neck has a really smooth finish to it, which just makes things really easy when sort of navigating your way around the neck. Okay, so this brings me on to my second difference. The difference that I'm noticing when I'm playing the guitar is just the actual body of the guitar, the shape of the guitar. So it's obviously got the two horns and the classic Strat style look, but the edges, the curves, the contours, they're a lot harder. They're not as rolled, they're not as soft as on a Strat. So while that's only a subtle difference, it's just a little bit of a difference enough for me to notice it and notice the difference in the feel. When I pick up the guitar and I'm holding it and I'm sitting down in playing position, it makes it just feel like it's not exactly the same guitar that you already own, a Strat. It makes it feel just like something different while keeping that same classic look. So these are the two main differences I'm noticing between the Fender and the Schecter. I think the fact that the volume pot is slightly lower aesthetically looks so nice. It looks a lot cleaner. I don't really use the tone controls on the Strat or the Schecter, so having one less doesn't bother me at all. However, if you ever found that the volume pot on a Strat does get in your way, you probably find that it will not on the Schecter. It's just out of the way and the pinky finger just won't ever hit it because it's just not there to be hit. So the other small difference is the input jack being on the bottom of the guitar. This is just such a great decision for this style of guitar because I found that every time the input jack on my Strat becomes loose, it's an absolute nightmare to try and tighten it up. It's never like a quick 2-second job. You have to unscrew the bolt and then tighten it up again. It's an absolute nightmare. So being able to just quickly on the fly, if it's loose, tighten it up is an absolute dream. Okay, so if you're anything like me, you like to keep your guitar in tune. I think pretty much everyone does. And this kind of brings me on to my last point about the Schecter, and this is something that kind of annoys me a little bit. The tuners, although they work well, the guitar holds its tune really well. The lock-in tuners save a lot of time when restringing, and they seem to be working great. A string hasn't just popped out and flung across the room. The only thing that bugs me is the tuners just feel a little bit cheap. And this is purely when you're actually tuning the guitar, when you're turning the keys, they just feel a little bit too stiff, whereas on my Strat, they just glide a little more. Again, this is a really small thing, and it's not really something that puts me off the guitar, and it shouldn't really put you off the guitar because it doesn't really have an effect, again, on the playability of it. It's just a small thing that I'm kind of just sort of trying to pull out of the woodwork just to mention. Okay, so overall, to put it quite simply, the Schecter is just a really nice modern twist on the Strat. And I think if you're in the market for something that's just a slight bit different to a Strat, it's got just a little bit of a twist to it, the Schecter's definitely something to check out, as it delivers. It's got great tone, it feels really nice to play. It's a really, really comfortable guitar, just like the Strat is, but in its own sort of cool way. So I'm gonna leave you now with just a couple of tones from both guitars. I'm gonna keep the amp and pedals and all that sort of cool stuff. I'm gonna keep that the same. I'm just gonna literally unplug and plug back in so you can hear the differences with the same settings. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you wanna just subscribe and like, I've always wanted to say that on a YouTube video. Cheers.